Welcome to the Compliance Officer's Playbook podcast. Today we're doing something a little different.
Yeah, little thought experiment, you could say.
Yeah, thought experiment. We're stepping into an alternate reality, I guess you could say.
Okay.
Let's imagine it's February 2025,
Okay.
and Donald Trump has just started his second term as president.
All right.
So, this is obviously hypothetical, but
Yeah.
we're going to be diving into a White House fact sheet
Okay.
dated February 4th, 2025, that outlines his potential Iran strategy.
Interesting.
And of course, this isn't about, predicting the future or anything like
Oh,
that.
well, yes. Yeah.
It's more about, if this were to happen, what are some of the things that we might see?
Understanding the implications
Yeah,
of
exactly.
a potential approach.
So this fact sheet, it's titled Protecting America and the World from the Threat of Iran.
Catchy.
Yeah, definitely grabs your attention.
It definitely sets the tone.
Yeah, and it really outlines a strategy
Okay.
that the fact sheet called Maximum Pressure 2.0.
Maximum Pressure 2.0.
Essentially, it's a revival of the approach from his first term.
Okay, yeah. I mean, that was a signature policy
Right.
during the first term, so not
Yeah.
totally unexpected to see that come back.
Yeah, and, it aims to achieve three core goals.
Okay.
First, preventing Iran from getting nuclear weapons or long-range missiles.
Right.
A second, dismantling their terrorist networks.
Mm-hmm.
And third, stopping their development of advanced weaponry.
So basically trying to contain Iran's, military and geopolitical ambitions on
Yeah.
all fronts.
Essentially a very, hardline stance.
Yeah, no question.
But how would this maximum pressure,
Right.
how would it actually work in practice?
Yeah, because maximum pressure sounds good in a slogan.
Sure.
But what does it actually mean? What tools are we talking about?
Yeah, what are the specifics?
Exactly.
Well, it seems like the main tool here is
Yeah.
economic sanctions.
Okay.
But
But amped up.
yeah, on steroids or something.
Right.
The fact sheet talks about the Treasury and State Departments really going full throttle on sanctions and enforcement.
Right.
They would be issuing warnings to businesses all over the world about the risks of dealing with Iran.
Audit.
And the ultimate goal is to choke off their oil revenue completely.
So basically cutting off Iran's
Yeah,
economic lifeline.
as much as possible.
Okay, so a very aggressive approach.
Yeah, it's a bold strategy for sure, but we have to ask,
Yep.
I mean, is it realistic?
Right.
And what are the potential downsides to doing this?
Yeah, because, haven't we tried sanctions on Iran before?
Right, exactly. And that's where it gets really interesting.
Okay.
Because the fact sheet also mentions working with allies at the UN to reinstate international sanctions.
Ah, the so-called UN snapback.
Yeah, exactly. And that's not going to be easy because a lot of our allies were very critical of Trump's Iran policy
Right.
the first time around.
They thought it was too aggressive.
Yeah, they weren't really on board.
And it caused a lot of friction.
Yeah, so I mean, will they be on board with this, round two of maximum pressure?
That's a big question mark.
Yeah, I think that's a key point to consider.
For sure.
And then what about here at home?
Right, domestically.
Yeah, domestically.
What's the plan there?
Well, the fact sheet talks about the Attorney General cracking down on Iranian-sponsored networks within the U.S.
Okay, so kind of a protecting the homeland from Iran angle.
Exactly. They're basically saying they're going to investigate, disrupt, and prosecute these networks, and even seek the extradition of, key figures.
Wow, so going after individuals
Yeah.
linked to Iranian-funded groups.
Yeah, so it's a very multi-pronged approach,
Okay.
targeting both internal threats and external threats.
That's comprehensive.
Yeah, it definitely paints a picture of a very, assertive and aggressive policy.
Yeah, you can definitely say that.
And to really drive that point home, the fact sheet even quotes President Trump drawing a parallel to the 1979 Iranian Revolution.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And he says, quote, "Those days are over."
Powerful statement.
Yeah, he's basically saying, we're not going to tolerate what we've tolerated in the past.
Right.
He sees it as appeasement.
Trying to project strength.
Yeah, exactly. He's
Yeah.
trying to project strength and decisiveness.
Make a clean break from the past.
Yeah, exactly. And it's a powerful statement.
It is, but it also raises some important questions.
Like what?
Well, will this tough stance actually escalate tensions further? Yeah, that's a good point. And what about unintended consequences?
Right.
Those are always a risk with these kinds of policies.
Those are the million-dollar questions, aren't they?
They really are.
This fact sheet lays out a very clear vision.
A roadmap,
Yeah.
at least in theory.
But, the reality of international relations is complex.
Oh, absolutely.
I mean, there are so many factors at play.
We can't predict how other countries will react.
Right. And even if our allies do go along with this, I mean, what will Iran's response be?
Yeah, will they retaliate in some way?
Yeah, exactly.
Mm.
I mean, there's just so much we don't know.
It's a lot of unknowns. And that's what makes it so interesting to analyze.
Yeah, I mean, this deep dive, it gives us a framework to think about, potential policy directions.
A starting point.
Yeah, but it's crucial to consider, the potential challenges,
The downside.
the unintended consequences, and, the long-term impact of a policy shift like this.
It's something for all of you listening to really think about and ponder.
It really is. I mean, this potential second-term Iran policy,
Mm-hmm.
it offers a lot to unpack.
Definitely a lot to digest.
Yeah, and it raises far more questions than it answers.
Always the case with these hypothetical scenarios.
Well, thanks for joining us on this deep dive into a hypothetical second Trump term and its potential implications for U.S.-Iran relations.
It's been a fascinating discussion.
If you enjoyed this episode, don't forget to subscribe to the Compliance Officer's Playbook podcast for more in-depth discussions on global affairs and compliance.
We'll see you next time.
Stay time.
Bye.
Bye.